Normally, I tend to do a lot of research before I talk about a certain subject. I make sure to write everything down as well and proofread it multiple times. However, in this instance, I just wanted to talk a bit more candidly because I realized that writing everything down just wasn't enough to convey the emotions that I felt when I found out that MatPat was leaving the internet. Plus, I'd like to think that I have a fair bit of knowledge when it comes to the game theorists because I've been watching them since 2015, which is weird to think about because that's almost a decade ago. It's no surprise that the internet is so up in arms about MatPat retiring. One look at his channel just shows you how much work he puts into all the videos that he produces. And what's even more impressive is that he's been doing it for so very long. And he started it when he was jobless himself and didn't know what to do with the degrees that he had.
I went to college for theater and neuroscience. After about 2 years of touring around, it was not a lifestyle that I wanted. Like, I hated living out of a suitcase. I hated, living paycheck to paycheck and every 3 months being out of a job.
Many people have already mentioned what MatPat meant to them, and while I will be getting to those personal experiences, I genuinely just want to take a moment to admire all that he's accomplished. The dude literally started making videos on a whim because he wanted to express his thoughts and realized that there was an opportunity to do so on YouTube. And that's so admirable, especially since he was in such a dark place at that time, and it becomes even more difficult to do something worthwhile when you're being crushed time and time again by the world telling you that you aren't enough.
It was, no one wanted to give me a chance, right? And I'm like, no, I'm a smart guy. I went to college, I got straight A's, I was valedictorian in my high school, I got perfect score in my SAT. Olive Garden wouldn't hire me.
Why did they say no?
Honestly, I don't know.
Not only that, but the way he edited his videos on his crappy laptop he had at the time is so fucking inspirational because if you didn't know, he animated each pixel frame by frame on Photoshop and then compiled them together on Windows Movie Maker of all things. That type of dedication and determination really does require a lot of resilience, and not many people would be able to do that.
So I started my YouTube channel as a means of something to do in between sending out resumes, in between researching for jobs, and also as a means of showcasing to people like, hey, I can do stuff.
MatPat had an amazing idea, however he did not have the skill set needed to expand upon those ideas, so he did the best he could and knew that what he did was enough for the time that he was doing it. And honestly, if you think about the circumstances he made those videos in, those older videos still hold up to this day. Go watch them now, I'm not even joking. Most people talk about your successes after you've accomplished something, but no one actually takes the time to admire what you're doing in the moment. It's no secret that game theory was extremely successful, but to get there required so much hard work and countless loads of blood, sweat and tears. And even then, MatPat was still uplifting others in the community. Very soon into the game theory lifespan, he introduced 2 partner shows, Gaijin Goomba's Game Exchange and Ronnie Oni Edwards Digressing at Side Questing. He made friends through his work and made sure to expand upon his business at the same time. And since then, that was a constant in MatPat and Stephanie's life. Most people don't often consider how Stephanie was a big part in the channel. I really don't think MatPat could have done it on his own. And no human can if you don't have the support of someone who will be there unconditionally for you. And Stephanie was just that. We never got to see much of her since Stephanie worked behind the scenes on most of the official theory channels. However, her presence is definitely felt, especially when you hear MatPat talk about her.
She's wonderful, and I cannot talk about her enough because she constantly inspires me. She's also the one who taught me that it was enough to just be me. She's always the one who's there to remind me, like, no, you can reach out to these people, it's okay.
So with the small team of determined creators, MatPat did what he did best and kept on theorizing. He kept on introducing new shows here and there and expanding his team slowly and exponentially. Soon enough, Game Theory hit 3 million subscribers and MatPat left his job at Defy Media to do YouTube full time. Oh yeah, and about his work at Defy, MatPat not only grew his own channels but helped countless others, most notably Smosh, at garnering a larger audience.
3 million subscribers and doing these 2 full-time jobs, it's like I've got to hit a board. I've got to try and make this as good of a thing as possible. And so I went full-time with it. And then Stephanie, a couple months later, went full-time with it.
It's funny because his obsession with YouTube was initially belittled, and yet now his work has not only made himself notable but other creators as well. Again, this just proves what I've been saying the entire video, and what MatPat said in his own video. He really has been on the grind for so very long, and not just the grind at that. There have been so many major life events that have happened for him during his time on YouTube. I mean, he did get married, have a child, get betrayed by that same media company I mentioned prior, and so much more. And through all that, he still managed to be his genuine self while putting out great content for you and I alike. It's honestly astonishing that throughout all that change, MatPat continued to better himself while not losing himself. And having the best of both worlds is honestly a hard task for anybody, let alone someone that went from managing one channel to multiple shows on said channel to multiple channels in general, one of which was a live streaming channel which had to upload almost daily, I believe. That goes without even mentioning his YouTube Red series, which is still one of his most popular videos to this day. His most popular, in fact, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, I can't sit through this entire video without mentioning Five Nights at Freddy's. And while everyone does meme about how that's the majority of the videos he makes on the channel, people often forget that those videos take a lot of time to make. The brainstorming, planning, writing, editing all takes so much time, and yet MatPat still did all that while also having a kid to raise. However, that wasn't the only child that MatPat would raise. As Ozone on Twitter put it best, game theory never ruined our childhood, it made it. I'm not sure how the theorist channels will progress without MatPat, but one thing is clear. His enthusiasm for what he wanted to talk about, his iconic voice, and even his dad jokes will be missed and always remembered. And if all this still wasn't enough evidence to showcase how MatPat has greatly influenced so many lives, I haven't even mentioned the charity live streams he's held over the years. The most notable of these are the St. Jude charity live streams, where he's been able to collab with so many people, which has allowed him to raise so much money. With the people he's employed, the channels he's made, the creators he's helped, the money he's raised, and the ideas and inspiration he's put out there, I genuinely find it hard to believe that there's any one person out there that hasn't felt his influence in some way, shape or form, because he is genuinely just everywhere. It doesn't matter if you know him or not. He's done the work, he's made his mark. While it genuinely does suck ass that he's leaving, I'm so very happy for what he's accomplished. I mentioned this in my own tweet as well, but MatPat was such a constant force on YouTube that I never even imagined the internet without him. And now it genuinely just feels weird. Even if I didn't keep up with his videos, I still checked in on him from time to time. And I was always met by that same voice, by that same intro, by that same catchphrase. And to think about how that won't be there anymore it just doesn't feel right or feel complete. His absence will definitely leave behind a void that I don't think can ever be filled again. And I think that's for the better, because to be your one true self and to be commemorated for that alone is a feat unlike any other, and MatPat is the most deserving of that. His story is so very inspiring, and I've barely scratched the surface of it. Again, this is just from the top of my head. However, it does prove one thing, and it's how passion and love can genuinely take you so far. And that's what I think inspired people the most when it came to MatPat's work. You could tell that passion and joy was always there. And those are the lessons that I, as well as many others, hope to carry into our own work. It's weird because even the project I'm working on right now that's going to be coming out very soon has so many elements of MatPat and Sapph in it that I didn't even realize that until I looked for them after this announcement. Anyway, that's all I had to say about this. Let's hope I can make something coherent out of this because, oof, I'm not used to talking without a script.
Pathetic. Is somebody here?
I can't wait to see the stories you both write.